Coach Whitney K here, your virtual personal growth coach. And in today's video, we are talking about habits, behaviors, motivation, familiarity, and your attitude. Let's go. So as many of us start striving to become more intentional about our lives and the life that we want in the future, it is so important to evaluate all of these things as we try to change. Not only evaluate them, but start making changes where we identify we need to change. The first area I want to talk about is your habits. Habits determine where we end up. That's what you do in the morning, what you do at night, how productive you are, what you make happen, what you listen to, what you watch on TV, the way you respond, the way you eat. All of these things play a major part in how successful we are going to be in the future. So what your habits look like on a daily basis determine, your level of success. If you spend most of your day watching TV, on the phone, on social media, doing nothing, sleeping, which is a big thing for people, and sleep is good, but at the same time, too much sleep is not okay, right? It prevents you from getting things done. So what are your habits like? And how do you break habits? You break habits by forming new ones, by continuing to try every time you fail, by recognizing what it is that you don't want to do, and continuing to do things to kind of counter it. So if I know that getting up early is a new habit that I want to instill in my life, I have to stop sleeping in, simply put. If I don't stop sleeping in, I'm never going to build this habit. So even though my body doesn't really want to wake up early in the morning, I know that in order to form this new habit, your girl has to get up. So how do I do that? Every morning I try again. I get up a little bit earlier until it starts to stick, right? I try again until it happens. That's how you form a new habit. If eating healthy is something that you want to do, starting to work out is something that you want to do, start forming that habit. Figure out how you're going to prep your meal. Think about what could go wrong. Oh, if I don't prep, I know I'm going to go eat out somewhere and it's probably going to be trash. So I'm going to prepare ahead of time so that I can break this habit of eating unhealthy or eating bad, on a daily basis, right? I'm not telling you give up all of your good stuff or the things that you like, but if this is a new habit that you're trying to instill in yourself, then you have to make a conscious effort to avoid those things that slide us right back into our old habits, right? If partying and turning up is one of those things you're trying to avoid, you have to stop surrounding yourself with people who want to do that, because guess what? You're going to be pulled that way to go on and do those things that you're trying to avoid. So forming new habits is going to help you get where you're trying to get. But if you don't even have an idea or a vision of where you want to go, how do you know your habits are good or bad? That's coming in a later video. The next one I want to talk about is behaviors. Behaviors are learned. A baby doesn't come out of the womb hating people. This is something that's learned. You don't just wake up one day with an attitude. It's a learned behavior. You've either watched someone with a negative attitude or a poor attitude, and you picked up on those behaviors. This is how I'm going to respond to things. This is how I'm going to react when people do things that I don't like. It's a learned behavior. So since it's learned, that means you can unlearn it. That means you can do something different, but it takes serious effort. And that's the work that we often overlook or we don't take the time to do. If I know that I'm trying to stop cursing, right? I have to be conscious of when I slip up and when I make a mistake and say, man, I have to find a filler word for that. Because if I curse a lot, it has become a part of who I am and a part of my behavior. So to change that, I have to do something different. So I want you to start thinking about those behaviors that you know you have that you want to change. If you're spending too much time on social media, and getting distracted and getting discouraged, you have to find something to fill that. You can't just say, I'm going to stop using social media and then expect not to pick up your phone and use it. You have to pick something to fill that time, to change that behavior. Instead of watching social media, I'm going to listen to a podcast. The Woman Intentional podcast is my suggestion. But instead of using social media, I'm going to watch a YouTube video, something positive that's going to build me up, like this one right here, right? So you have to start changing those behaviors and filling them with something else, or else you're going to be back in the same type of habit, simply put. This is trying to force yourself to become more self-aware. You're being aware of what you're doing, how you're acting, how am I responding to people? How are people responding to me? Am I doing some crazy facial expressions? Or, are people looking at me in a way that I don't even understand why? What am I doing that's causing these reactions? So it's becoming more self-aware. And there's tons of information on self-awareness that you can seek out and start to research on how you can improve that area. Next area I want to talk about is attitude. Your attitude plays a large part on your success as well. Your attitude is basically a set feeling or thought about something. So if I have a attitude problem, when people say certain things to me that I don't like, I might get an attitude. Or if I have a positive attitude, I may try and take negative things and turn them into a positive. I might try and look at a different perspective. I may try not to get frustrated when people do things that I don't like, understanding that everyone makes mistakes. So what is your attitude? If you have an attitude of perfection, or I'm perfect, I get most things right, then you're gonna expect that from other people, which is pretty much impossible. So you're not gonna have a big tolerance for people who don't get it right all the time. This is just the way I am. I don't care if you don't like the way I am. I've been this way all my life. I'm not changing. If you have that type of attitude, you can expect to stay the same. But if you have a growth attitude or a positive attitude and say, man, I'm jacked up right now, I need to adjust, then you're going to be motivated to change when you see that what you're doing is not getting you the results that you want in life. The next area I want to talk a little bit about is familiarity. And that's one of those things that really, I think a lot of us struggle with. The unknown is the unknown. You taking a chance, you doing something different, you don't know what's going to happen from that. You have an idea, but you don't know what's going to happen. You know what it's like to sleep in and get that good rest, and wake up still a little bit sleepy. To get that sleep, it's familiar to you. You know the results of hanging with certain people. You're familiar with them. You know how they're going to respond, how they're going to react. It's basically really comfortable to be around familiar people. But in order for us to grow this year, you have to think outside the box and be okay with the unknown. What is it like for me to have a weekend where I don't get wasted? Thinking like that. It may be a little different initially because that's what you're used to doing, but hey, man, what are the results I'm gonna get from that? What is it like for me to just enjoy, have a good time and not share it on social media? I do want everybody to know that I'm having a good life and I'm living my best life, but does it really matter if they know? Can I just keep it to myself? It's unfamiliar, but are you okay just knowing that that's what's going on in your life? It may be unfamiliar, but it may benefit you as well. You're not consumed with what other people think about you when you do things like that. Familiarity keeps us comfortable, right? We don't try and go above and beyond. We don't try and do anything differently because the familiar is comfortable. So this year, I want you to kind of consider doing something that you're not familiar with. Reading a book. It may be uncomfortable initially because it's like, okay, this is boring. But when you're excited about growing, excited about changing, it's going to impact you in a different way. Eventually, you'll start to like these things. You'll see what's coming from it. So I want to encourage ladies to get away from the familiar and try and take a chance doing something that you don't normally do. Hang with some people that you don't normally hang with. Spend time in events that you don't normally go to. Go to networking events for other positive women. Find some things that you can do to kind of get out of your comfort zone. You never know what may happen or what you might get excited about and find out you're really interested in. So get away from what is familiar. The last thing I want to talk about is motivation. When we are trying to change, motivation is that thing that gets us fired up and says, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm changing, I'm about to change my life and become this great person and do all these things. But if it's not deeper than motivation or this adrenaline that you're feeling, then it's gonna soon die out. Motivation, I can come and pump you up and talk to you about doing all these great things, but when I leave, it's kind of like, okay, forget it. But when you start to find your why for changing, like I want to change because I really want to be a better woman. I want to change because I want my son to respect me, my daughter to respect me, my husband to respect me, my friends, my family to respect me and to value me and to know that, I have their best interest in mind and to see me as a person that has their best interest in mind. I want to change because I have goals that I want to achieve. I have dreams that I want to make a reality. All of these reasons are going to push you to want to keep trying, even when you don't feel like it, even when adrenaline is low and you are not fired up and motivated. Your why is going to push you. So this year, I don't want us to just go off of motivation. You see someone else doing really good and you get fired up. I want you to start taking it deeper. Why do I really want to change? Like, why do I really need to change? How will I benefit from changing? Once you start to figure these things out, bad days will come and you'll still be able to keep pushing and working towards your dream. Ladies, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you got something from this video and that you are a little bit more inspired to dig deeper on why you need to change your habits, your behaviors, your attitudes, what you're familiar with, getting out of that comfort zone, and to become the best version of yourself. If you need a little bit more help with that, you can check out my website, www.purposefullyguided.co, where I share tons of tips, knowledge, and ideas on how you can evaluate yourself to make sure you're headed in the right direction with your personal growth. Ladies, it has not always been easy, but you know what? I have so much more peace in my life since I have been developing new habits, new attitudes, and new behaviors, and watching and really evaluating the attitudes, habits, and behaviors of those that I surround myself with. You can do the same. Ladies, Purposefully Guided is my Facebook page. At Coach Whitney K is my Instagram. And like I said, check out my website for a blog. And I also have the Woman Intentionally podcast. Have a great week, ladies, and I will see you next Wednesday on Coach Whitney K's YouTube channel. Let's go.